I never imagined that Halloween, a holiday I always saw as harmless fun, would become the night that almost ended my life. At 68 years old, I'm not the strongest man, but I've always tried to stay active. I walk every morning, I do light yard work, I keep myself busy and steady. But life has changed a lot since my wife passed 3 years ago. The house became quiet, too quiet sometimes, and I let my daughter and her husband, Jason, move in to help with expenses and to keep me company. Or at least, that's what I thought was happening. In reality, I was helping them far more than they were helping me. When they first came, they promised they were just getting on their feet, saving for a home, working on building their future. I was happy to support them. I covered repairs. I covered groceries. I paid bills they couldn't manage. I even helped them with their credit card debt. And not once, not a single time did Jason say, "Thank you." He acted like my help was just expected. Like the man who built this home and raised the woman he married owed him something. Jason is the kind of person who always sees himself as the funniest guy in the room, even when no one is laughing. He teases others, talks over them, makes jokes that go too far. And when he hurts someone's feelings, he always says the same thing. "Relax, I'm just joking." I tolerated him because I love my daughter, and she loved him. But even she didn't see the selfishness, the entitlement, the immaturity that was brewing beneath the surface. Halloween night was cold and quiet. My daughter was working a late hospital shift, so it was just Jason and me at home. I hand out candy every year to the neighborhood kids. I enjoy seeing their costumes. Something about the innocence, the creativity. It always reminded me of when my daughter was little. I settled into my recliner, put on an old Western movie, and slowly drifted off to sleep. I didn't hear footsteps. I didn't hear breathing. All I remember is waking up to a face inches from mine. A hideous, twisted, rotting corpse mask, pale skin stretched over bone, with black eye sockets like pits, and a wet, rattling, guttural growl inches from my ear. I swear the sound shook me to my core. I didn't scream. I didn't jump. My body simply collapsed into panic. My chest tightened as if a heavy belt were wrapping around my heart. My vision blurred and the world began to tilt. I was gasping for air, but each breath was thin and shallow. It felt like drowning, like suffocating in my own body. And while I was there, clutching my chest, trembling, feeling my body shutting down, Jason laughed, not nervous laughter, not laughter out of shock. He was doubling over, holding his stomach, genuinely amused. "Oh my God," he wheezed between laughs. "I didn't think you'd fall for it that hard. You should have seen your face." I tried to speak, but my jaw wouldn't open right. I slid off the recliner and hit the floor. The room spun. I heard myself making sounds that didn't even sound human, like a trapped animal. It was the neighbors, not Jason, who called the ambulance. He didn't think it was serious. Later, I heard him tell the paramedics, "He does this. He's dramatic." I remember lying on the stretcher, hearing them say, "Possible cardiac arrest," my heart thudding in a broken rhythm like a drum someone didn't know how to play. The world faded to white, then black. I smelled plastic, hospital disinfectant, and the faint metallic tang of blood. When I finally opened my eyes, I was staring up at ceiling tiles, monitors beeping in slow, steady intervals. A nurse stood over me and told me I had suffered a mild heart attack. "You're lucky," she said. A few minutes later, and this could have been much worse. Lucky, but what haunted me was not the physical pain. It was the memory of Jason laughing while my heart was fighting to keep beating. My daughter came to the hospital in tears, horrified when she found out what had happened. She held my hand and apologized over and over, and I believed she meant it. But Jason never came. Not once, no phone call, no text, no guilt, no remorse. When I was cleared to go home 3 days later, I moved slowly, carefully. The doctor told me to avoid stress. But stress was waiting for me the moment I walked through my own front door. Jason was sitting on the couch, scrolling on his phone, not even pretending to be concerned. He glanced at me and said, annoyed, "So I guess we'll have to pay medical bills now, huh?" I stood there in silence. My daughter looked at him like she didn't recognize him anymore, and that was the moment something in me crystallized into pure clarity. My heart didn't feel weak. It felt cold, focused. "No," I said quietly. "You don't have to worry about the bills. I'll take care of everything." He smirked, assuming I meant financially. But I meant something much deeper, something permanent. That night, I lay in bed staring at the ceiling, thinking of everything I built in my life. This home, this family, my memories with my wife. The laughter, the holidays, the birthdays, the simple mornings drinking coffee together. And now, that history was being walked over by a man who saw me as a joke, a burden, an ATM with a pulse. The next morning, I made an appointment with my lawyer. He listened carefully as I explained everything, from the living situation to the heart attack to the lack of remorse. When I finished, he folded his hands and said slowly, "We can change your will easily. That part is straightforward, but removing your son-in-law from your home is a legal eviction. It will take time. There's a process." I nodded without hesitation. "I have spent my entire life respecting rules, paperwork, chain of command, procedure," I said. "I am more than willing to follow the law to remove disrespect from my home." The following weeks were quiet. Strangely quiet. I didn't argue. I didn't explain. I didn't warn. I simply acted. I removed Jason and my daughter from the joint bank account I used to help them with unexpected expenses. The car insurance I had been paying? Canceled. The credit card debt assistance? Finished. The groceries? They paid their half now, and they noticed it fast. The first week they acted confused, the second frustrated. By the third, bills piled up, and in the fourth week, the eviction notice arrived. The shock on Jason's face was something I will never forget. His mouth opened, but no words came out at first. Then came the rage. He accused me of betrayal, of breaking family trust, of disrespect. The irony was almost laughable. My daughter cried, again, but this time her tears weren't for him. They were for the realization of who he really was. She saw the cruelty, the selfishness, the lack of love. The sheriff came to supervise the move-out because I didn't want conflict. When Jason realized it was legally binding, that there was no loophole, no argument, no escape, his face crumbled. He left with his boxes and his bruised ego, muttering threats and insults that meant nothing anymore. My daughter stayed. Not because she was forced to, but because she wanted to. I sat her down at the dinner table, the same table where I once ate with her mother, and I told her the truth. This home is yours when I'm gone, but only if you never again allow someone to treat it, and me, with disrespect. Her tears this time were different. They were soft, relieved, grateful. And when the door closed behind Jason for the last time, the house fell into a silence I had not heard in years. A peaceful silence, a healing silence. A silence that told me I had reclaimed not just my home, but my dignity. Sometimes people mistake kindness for weakness. They believe generosity is endless. They think there will always be one more chance, and they only understand the truth when consequences finally arrive. Jason thought scaring me made him powerful, but all it did was reveal who he truly was, and who I still am. I am not weak, I am not finished, and my life still belongs to me.